महाभारत केवल एक कथा नहीं है, ये हमारी संस्कृति, हमारे धर्म की आत्मा है।
एक कथा पुरानी।
इस महान ग्रंथ, इस महाकाव्य को आप तक पहुंचाने के लिए हमने इस पर अथक परिश्रम किया है।
शंख बजे, रण सजे,
और हम लेकर आ रहे हैं महाभारत पर एक वर्ल्ड क्लास एनिमेटेड सीरीज।
ये है महाभारत।
हम चाहते हैं कि ये प्रस्तुति हर किसी के लिए पूर्ण रूप से निःशुल्क रहे, और इसके लिए हम हर सीजन के लिए क्राउड फंडिंग कर रहे हैं। आप सब इस क्राउड फंडिंग कैंपेन में अपना योगदान करिए और इस संकल्प को साकार करने में हमारी सहायता करिए। हमारा आपसे निवेदन है कि आप अपने परिवार और मित्रों के साथ इस क्राउड फंडिंग कैंपेन से अवश्य जुड़ें और अधिक से अधिक लोगों के साथ इसे साझा करें, ताकि महर्षि वेद व्यास का, भगवान कृष्ण का दिया हुआ उपदेश और महाभारत का संदेश हर घर तक पहुंचे और हमारे धर्म और संस्कृति की पुनः संस्थापना हो। धन्यवाद। Namaskar, good evening. Welcome to Unfiltered with Prachyam live. And before we start, a small request to all of you viewers who are watching this globally. Prachyam OTT is your own OTT. It's world's first Bharatiya and Sanatani OTT platform. Please log on to prachyam.com and subscribe to it. Please download Prachyam OTT app from the app stores. Prachyam OTT has more than 500 films on our Sanskriti, our culture, our itihas, our civilization, our great knowledge traditions, and our Rishi Parampara. We have Prachyam Kids for children, and we have Prachyam Nath for music lovers. Today is a very special episode, and we are going to talk about the glory of Sanatan Dharma today. Across the world, there is a growing interest in Bharatiya wisdom, yoga, meditation, and spiritual traditions. But the larger question remains, are people only embracing the outer practices of these traditions? Or are they truly exploring the deeper philosophy and knowledge that has shaped a civilization for thousands of years? Today, we are bringing to you a story of a remarkable journey, a journey of building a strong Sanatan community in a modern, multicultural country like Singapore. From humble beginnings to the grand Rath Yatra that now brings together thousands of devotees. This story reflects the power of faith, perseverance, and community building. Alongside this, efforts to share Vedic knowledge in places like mainland China, it represents a new chapter in the global journey of Sanatan Dharma. Viewers, tonight on this show, we are going to explore all of it, of a very devoted spiritual leader, the challenges and opportunities he faced in spreading Sanatan teachings globally, the importance of preserving authentic Vedic wisdom, the vision behind temples and Vedic communities, and how ancient knowledge can guide a generation searching for meaning and purpose. It's an honor for us at Prachyam to welcome on our show His Grace Sundar Prabhu Das. Hare Krishna, Prabhu Das ji. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
thank you
Thank you
so much
for
for joining.
thank you for inviting me to your very esteemed podcast station. It's a pleasure for me to be with you tonight.
And it's an honor for us, Prabhuji. And I think you have an amazing story to tell about your journey. So, can you take us back to the beginning? What was your life like before entering this path? And what was the moment that drew you towards Sanatan Dharma and this path that you have taken?
I guess it all started in 1975 when I first met my spiritual master. I'm sure you are aware of him. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, very popularly known as Prabhupada. He went to America with only 40 rupees in hand on a steamship in 1965 and started the worldwide Hare Krishna movement. So I got his book, his Bhagavad Gita as it is. And upon reading that book, it actually transformed my life. As I was seeking, who is God, how to approach him, how to love him, and so many questions like that. And he, in his book, clearly explained everything so clearly that it kind of won my heart over. So I decided to dedicate my life to his service. Since at that time in 75, I was about 20 years old. And so from then on, it was a big challenge trying to put Krishna consciousness in Singapore, which coincidentally also did not allow Srila Prabhupada entry into the country. 1971, he tried to come in and he was rejected. So with that, I have to face the uphill task of trying to set up Krishna consciousness here in Singapore. It was very challenging. Everything was a no. They did not want us here. They told very flatly in our face, no, we don't want your Hare Krishna here.
Mhm.
To do something like that, to put the society here, was a tremendous, I say, challenge. Being a small country where everything is thoroughly, looked at, checked, it's difficult to penetrate. So, guess I was determined, and somehow or other by Krishna's and Prabhupada mercy, we have managed over the years to finally establish some niche here. Thus, we are still trying to build our temples, which is another big obstacle to cross. But nonetheless, we have some place here now where we have the deities and we have a very strong congregation of devotees. We just finished our Ratha Yatra. We had at least more than 15,000 people attending it.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
the scale that we have progressed.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great journey you have had. So Prabhupada ji was refused entry in Singapore, and that's why he sent his disciple, that is you, to go there and set up.
I
Amazing. When
guess
you when you first came to Singapore, Prabhuji, what
I'm
was
born
the
here.
state of? Okay, so what was the state of the
I'm
Hindu community? When you thought of coming and starting this movement and setting up a center and a temple. How were the things back then?
You see, the Singapore country has a overwhelming population of Chinese, about 75%, and then there are Malays, maybe about 12%, and the Indian occupy a even much smaller ratio. So primarily the Indian population, about maybe 4 to 500,000 people, predominantly Tamil from Tamil Nadu. I'm also a Tamil. So the Tamilians by nature have some kind of a fear about the northern Indians. That's something I don't know. I can't explain that. Some phenomena. So they are very kind of fearful of getting what we say overcome by the North Indians. So they are very kind of very close and tight about keeping Tamil as the important language and culture here in this island. So they see or view Krishna consciousness as a Northern Indian religion. So to overcome that, we have to, for example, give you an idea. In 1979, we had this Dussehra, festival, burning of Ravana. So when we wanted to do that festival, there was a lot of protest from the South Indian community. They say that this is a North Indian, king, a god who's trying to kill our South Indian king. So they wanted me to stop the festival. But somehow or other, we persisted and we did that festival. And as a result, we had to go through a lot of what we say censor by the local government. So much so they call us up, for a briefing to tell us not to do this festival again. So in that process of talking, I asked them this question, So you say that the North Indian king is killing a South Indian god, and you say you don't want that. I asked, then what about Deepavali? Deepavali is also a South Indian king being killed by the North Indian god. So that is a public holiday. So why is that possible and why is this not possible? No, you don't ask, you don't question us. We just tell you to do what you do that. So this gives you an idea, the kind of strong opposition I face in trying to set up the society here. It was a challenge. They refused my registration. They refused everything about Krishna consciousness. And we asked them what the reason. They have no answer.
So what do you think? What do you think was the reason, Prabhuji, that Prabhupadaji was like denied entry into Singapore? What could have been the reason?
Up to date, I have no answer for that. Up to today, I'm talking about 50 years down the line. Still, I do not know what's the reason. I can't explain. So, okay, I can't go on hitting my head on a brick wall. I've got to think of alternatives how to circumvent this problem. So, amazing, remarkable thing that I did was to find a society that's going defunct, because they won't let me register. And when I have I can't do my work without the society collecting donations and putting all these programs together. You don't have an identity. How are you going to perform? It's practically difficult, So then, by Krishna's arrangement, I got through a friend a society called Shiva Mandir. And I took over that society, and I was running my Krishna Consciousness, Hare Krishna movement under the society called Shiva Mandir. Can you imagine? From 1987 to 1997, a good 10 years I was with it. Because they didn't like it, they were very kind of upset with me, but what can I do? I had an identity, I could work. And they were, of course, giving me a hard time whenever I applied for license and permits and all that. Then finally, of course, they kind of called me over and they talked about it, and then they allowed me to open a new society, and that's where this International Sri Krishna Mandir was officially formed in 1997. So that was a big step forward. Some or other they have begun to recognize our efforts.
Oh,
So from
definitely.
then
I mean,
on, hmm,
yeah, remarkable journey, I would say. And today, Singapore's Rath Yatra attracts, you said, more than 15,000 people and has become one of the
yes,
country's largest Hindu festivals.
yes,
So, just
yes.
from growing from a handful of devotees to such a massive scale, that's quite an achievement. How are the things now, as compared to like decades earlier, 50 years, 40 years, 30 years back from now? Are they now a little bit more, uh, uh, friendly, more understanding? How is it now?
Because they are giving us a lot of more freedom to work, but still we are very tightly observed. I don't know what the reason, but I guess things are moving on. People grow up, they mature, they can see that we are also a big contributor to the nation building, playing a big role, helping youth, helping so many people. Because Sanatan Dharma, as you earlier introduced, there's no other knowledge higher than Sanatan Dharma. And that Sanatan Dharma, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they have got answers for every problem of yours, undoubtedly. Every sloka can relate to some question of yours. And that actually satisfies the soul. Because we all are looking for talking to God. And God speaks through the scriptures. Jevere Kripahoy, Krishna Veda Puran. For the mercy of the devotees, Krishna has given this Veda and Puran. So if you can hear them, and it's like God speaking to you. And what more answers are more, what we say, satisfying rather than the words of God. See? That's why this message, this Sanatan Dharma through the Gita and Bhagavatam, it is actually something that can save the world. Because the situation is becoming more and more complex. As Kali Yuga progresses, then the situation is going even worse and worse. Things are going to become from bad to worse. Manda Sumanda Matayo, they're becoming more and more dull. People's intelligence is reduced, mercy is reduced, quality of compassion is, everything is reducing day by day. So in this situation, we are all miserable. It's not that some people are miserable and others no. Krishna already declared this material world is dukhalayam asasvatam. It's full of miseries and is temporary. So caught up in this situation, humanity is facing a crisis, one form or other, every day going on. So the solution, Krishna says, if you surrender to me, then I will take care of you. You don't have to worry. Kauntaya pratijane ma bhakta pranashati. See, so this is the hope. So unless this humanity links up with God, Krishna, there's not going to be any solution. So this is a very
That's
important
beautiful.
message.
Yes, Prabhuji, and you are doing such an amazing work in this direction. You are connecting people, to Krishna's consciousness. You're spreading, Bhagwan Krishna's message. Oh, the sublime wisdom and the philosophy that we have in Sanatan Dharma. You are helping to propound that. How has been the response of, the local people there, or the non-Hindus or the non-Indians there?
Of course, it's a challenge. The Chinese people, we can't preach to the Malays by way because there's a law against preaching to them because they're Muslims. So we are left with the others, mainly the Chinese. And many are predominantly Christians. Of course, some are also Buddhists. But generally speaking, they're not some easy race to handle. Firstly, they look down on the Singaporeans, Indians. So been a little, I would say, not so dynamic compared to the Chinese who are controlling everything. So there's an uphill task, to lure them into Sanatana Dharma. Of course, they are very much interested in yoga and all that, but yoga is something else. It's seen as an exercise, something to for health. But philosophically, to get into the Vedic culture, that has always been a very big challenge with the local Chinese people. We have very few Chinese people connected to our temple. Of course, we have some more in China, mainland. We have more results there. But still, I would say it's a remarkably small group.
Yeah.
Because the challenge is there. We have also the Bhagavad Gita in Chinese. We also have the Bhagavatam in Chinese. We have many books also in Chinese. So the matter of trying our best is all I can say. We keep trying.
But that's
We're not
amazing.
saying-
But that's amazing, Prabhuji, that you have you know expanded in the mainland China as well. I mean, that would have been very challenging. It's not something very easy to do. How difficult was it? What were the challenges you faced when you thought of
Actually,
taking it to the mainland China?
Actually, the previous president, when he was there, I forgot his name, things were more relaxed and it was easy. For example, in the year, I think 2014, 15, 16, maybe 3 years in a row, we managed to do a Ratha Yatra on the streets of Guangzhou. That's very amazing to do Ratha Yatra in China. Nobody did, And after this new president came in, Xi Jinping, then he took a very big, what we say, hit. We could not do anything. They were having cameras everywhere. They were stopping everything we were doing, especially being an Indian going into the country. We stand out like a sore thumb, so they can see us everywhere. And once we were doing program in a house, even in a house, private house, they raided us. So we had to pretty much curb our preaching activities there. So much so now it is a little bit of a challenge, actually. Of course, we are not giving up. We have to change our tactics and way of approaching. For example, we invite the Chinese to come to Singapore and participate in our big festivals. So that way, that gives them a lot of, what we say, enthusiasm, seeing the scale in which Krishna consciousness is at. Because there it's all small and we are trying to hide everything and everything is, very cautiously done. Whereas here in Singapore, we are very open, very vibrant, so many people, So that gives a lot of, I say, enthusiasm, encouragement to them. So that's a matter of trying to make things go with this. But nonetheless, we are not stopped. We are doing our preaching is going on.
Oh, wonderful! And what kind of practices or what kind of activities are now you holding in the mainland China?
Right now, our devotees who are there, they are doing their puja, they are doing their activities, and they invite people carefully, one by one, to their house, and then start preaching to them, giving them the books, encouraging them to come and take prasadam. So in this way, we are kind of slowly. Activities are very slow now because the authorities are very, very, I think they're very high-handed, They come heavily down on anybody who's practicing religion. So we have to take the challenge, what to do. Kali Yuga.
Absolutely. The effect of the
There's
Kal,
a big
the effect of
contrast.
yoga.
There's a big contrast, In India, you have to pray. But in China, you cannot pray.
But the local Chinese there, are they taking interest or are they inquisitive or keen, to know about Sanatan Dharma, about, Gita, about Bhagwan Krishna and the wisdom of Krishna?
Yes, the North Indians, I mean, the North Chinese, they're very much philosophically inclined, the northern part of China. Whereas the southern part of China are very business minded. So usually our northern part of China gives more results. There are more candidates. They are more eager to listen to philosophy, to yoga, many things. In fact, we get good result up north China compared to south. Okay? But they are also a lot very inquisitive to know about the Vedic culture because the amount of answers in our books, the knowledge. In fact, there's also an old Chinese monk. He traveled all the way to India. He studied Sanskrit. He learned the Shastras. And when the king wanted to reward him, he collected all the Vedic books and he traveled back to China. So you see how much India is. And also he said, if you want to learn anything spiritual, then you must go to India. So India is recognized as the spiritual country, by everyone on earth, without any doubt. So therefore, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, who came about 500 years ago, he has said, Bharata Bhumit Manusya Yar, whoever is born in Bharatavash, his duty is to Janma Sartaka, perfect his life by studying this Sanatan Dharma, this Vedic culture, and then he has to Para Upaka, he has to preach this message. Because India, that knowledge is so wonderful. It is topmost. That's why Krishna also said in the Gita, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam. That's topmost knowledge. So if the Indians can take this role and spread this message, then truly there will be peace in the world without any doubt. Unless a person is
Absolutely.
connected to Krishna, there's no Krishna peace.
True.
And Krishna also said in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 66, he said that how you can get peace without getting connected to me. That's not possible. So this message has to be given to the world. And if we can very boldly preach this to Sanatan Dharma, and surely will make India very, very, I would say, popular, and everybody will look up to India. Because we are going to be happy. There's not going to be wars. That's the only way to counter this Kali. This Kali Yuga is the age of hypocrisy and quarrel. Everybody is quarreling and everybody is very hypocritical. So to counter this Kali Kalmasu Nasanam, if you want to destroy this Kali effect, then this Krishna consciousness must be introduced. So we are not just trying to promote our Krishna consciousness because we are a cult or something. No, we are carrying a message for the entire human race. And Sanatan Dharma is the only thing that will work. Nothing else can work. Undoubtedly, you can keep trying. You can see. You can see how our Krishna consciousness is prevailing in every corner of the earth. Currently, we have centers in Russia, we have centers in the Philippines, we have centers in Australia. I mean, practically, I'm sure you're aware, we have all worldwide. And everywhere we are trying to expand this consciousness. And this is a very, very, very important service to humanity. Because without God, there's no meaning to life, Then the person will be engulfed in the mode of passion and ignorance. And Arjuna asked the question, why a person is compelled to sinful work? Why? Although unwillingly. And Krishna says, Kamayesha Krodesha Rajaguna Samudbhava. It's because of lust only, Arjuna. Lust leads to anger. And this is coming from the mode of Rajagun. Rajagun means mode of passion, and Tamagun, mode of ignorance. So people don't even know this modes of material nature, goodness, passion, ignorance. They have no idea. You see how everyone is caught in a web and they don't know how to come out. So the Krishna is giving the answer. If you come out of this Rajagun and Tamagun, then of course you will not be again compelled to forcefully doing sinful activities, of which you will definitely go to hell. So everything has a consequence. As you know, karma takes its toll, So what we are trying to do is teach you how to come out of karma. And Krishna says, Sarva dharma parityaja, mam ekam sarnamarja, aham tvam sarva papibhyo, mokshayachi masucha. If you surrender, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me, I will rid you of all sinful reaction. Do not fear. So that's assurance. And only Krishna knows how much sinful activities each and every one have performed. So with just a flick of his finger, he drives everything out. So that backing is there, that assurance is there. We need to just expand this knowledge to everyone. You see this point? Actually,
Absolutely.
we are here to make you happy. That's our point. That's why we say, chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
See, as Indians, we can naturally relate, with this philosophy, with these things, whatever is mentioned in Gita and whatever Krishna says, it comes naturally to us, and we understand it very deeply. I just wonder and wanted to ask you, how do people from completely different cultural backgrounds, from different countries or dharma or religion, whatever, they respond? How do they respond when they first encounter concepts like, karma, dharma, bhakti, about the Upadesh of Bhagavan Krishna, about Bhagavad Gita? What is their response?
You see, the way of presenting is very important. For example, with the Indians, you can easily, as you rightly said, explain these matters because it's their culture, it's in their blood. But let's say you go out to a white man or any other non-Indian personalities, then you cannot present it the way you present to the Indian, because the Indian understands in a higher level. So you have to go down to the lower point to make him understand. So the first thing that Krishna started in the Gita was he was highlighting the point that we are not his body. That's a very important point because everyone outside, they identify themselves with the body. So you have to understand you are a soul, not the body. So when you teach them that you are not this body, you are spirit, soul, then the next question is that who is that supreme soul? I'm a small soul. Who is that supreme soul? So God has to come in. So it's the way of presenting this whole philosophy. And of course, if you try to engage in your sense enjoyment, because we primarily want to enjoy the senses, and that's predominantly there in the West. Everyone wants to be sense gratifier. So if you explain the consequence of sense gratifying, how it leads to sinful activity, bewilderment of the memory, and how you get implicated. So if you explain in that way, they are more readily accepting that fact. Why I am in problems, why I enter into difficulties, and what's the solution. So this is a way of presenting to the non-Indians and presenting to the Indians. Of course, Indians have a higher understanding. It's much more easier to explain. Whereas to the Western mind, concept of the soul, concept of God, concept of everything is very, what we say, it's a challenging task. But nonetheless, they are willing to listen also. They actually have got a good sense of intelligence to question, to ask reasons, And equally, everybody is trying to search for ultimate happiness. And another important thing is that when they try to chant this mantra, Hare Krishna, and they find it works, they become overwhelmed, See? So it's not that just we are speaking philosophy and we're just giving some kind of a, what we say, solution, but we are actually taking them out of the problem. And that's a
Beautiful.
You go to Krishna, you come out of the trouble, See? So this is something
Beautiful.
that is not some kind of a, what we say, speculation, something you try if you can work. No, it works because God is in your heart and he reciprocates to anyone who calls him. Just like, the story of Durpati when she was disrobed. I think you are promoting the Mahabharata series, right? That's you seen that. So she was being disrobed and she called for Krishna. Hey, Govinda. So when she called him, because she called him, only called him, Krishna said, I'm eternally indebted to her because she called me. So if you call the Lord, he becomes very much obligated. Then, so it's also there in the Ramayana, it says that Ram says, if anyone calls me, then from that day on, his protection is assured. So you see, so it's not that God is some abstract person, he is somebody, nobody knows. No, he is very much in our heart. He's sitting there, waiting for us to call him. That's the amazing thing. So this is how we can, try to explain the facts to the general people. And mind you, I am not from India. I am outside India. I'm a Singaporean. So to practice this faith and religion, it's a very challenging thing for me because I am staying outside this, very pious country, India. So for me to grasp this, and of course I have an Indian background, but I have already 3 generations down. I am not part of India. So it is quite a big thing for me to take this and explain it to the others. It's quite challenging. But I think we have done quite remarkably well because we're all over the world. And I
Oh
remember
yes,
going into
definitely. Yes, definitely. I do admire that. It was very admirable that how globally you have taken your teachings. But especially when we talk about Chinese, they're tough nut to crack. It's a very closed
yes,
community. And
yes.
as you said, the government is very hostile. So if I have to ask you that, what has been the biggest surprise for you while sharing the Sanatan philosophy, Sanatan Dharma teachings to the Chinese? What were the challenges you came across?
See, in that verse, there's a verse in the Bhagavatam. Kirata, Hundara, Pulinda, Pulaksa, Hundara, Kasa, Daya. So in that race, it describes all the different groups of people. Kirata means the people who have dark skin. Hundara, Andhara, all are very tribal kind of people. And among them, the last group of people mentioned, the most lowest, is Kasa. So the Kasa race means people who have shunted growth of hair on the upper lip, and referring to the Mongolites, the Chinese. So that class of people, for them to take up Krishna consciousness will be very challenging. They practically eat everything. I'm sure anything and everything. They have an appetite for all this kind of food, and plus they they are very kind of averse currently to anything Indian. So I don't know, the propaganda or whatever it is, they just don't seem to like anything Indian. So with that kind of a mood and attitude, to infuse Krishna consciousness is definitely very challenging. For example, Buddha. When we say Buddha is coming from India, they say, no, our Buddha comes from China. Then where's the Buddha coming from China? This is how they perceive a separate thing altogether. They hardly eat Indian food, practically not at all, you know. So we have a big task, a very big task. But Krishna consciousness is ahatukiya pratihata in Sanskrit. It means it cannot be checked by any material force. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness because it's spiritual, it's not material. So with this, just like Prahlad Maharaj, he happened to be the son of a big demon, Hiranyakasipu, There's no way a demon will get a devotee as a son. But you see, Krishna, how he can make that available for everybody. How? By the ability of them contacting the devotees of Krishna. If somehow or other they can get in touch with Krishna's devotee, then their spiritual life will be revived. So the devotee is a very important, what we say, personality to make that happen. It can. So it says in that verse, Kirata, Hundara, Pulinda, Pulaksa, but all of them, they can become purified by association of the devotee and Krishna. So it is not impossible. It is possible. They can see, even the Africans, we have temples in Kenya, in Nairobi, in so many places. And the Africans are taking it up. So there's no question of them not taking up. Of course, this high-handed role of the government currently made things a little bit more, I would say, difficult. Otherwise,
And yeah.
tell me.
Yeah, I think it's a long way to go then in China. It's going to take a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
especially
nevertheless, but you have started it. I mean, that is amazing, to start, because what you said is so true, because I have experienced it myself. I've been to China many, many times. I've seen the attitude of Chinese towards Indians. It's not good. They look down upon us. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. There is some kind of very strange feeling towards India or towards Indians, which I cannot also explain why it is there. Because China and India, they are two ancient civilizations, and we have had, very good connections between us earlier. And a lot of things, China has taken from India. The ancient Chinese civilizations, the kings, they took a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge from India. But still they have, I don't know why this, I noticed this while living in the US. I saw this, I noticed it. They really had some kind of very strange feeling, towards Indians. They despise them. I don't know why. And I see this trend, since a long time, and it is still out there. I saw it in Singapore when I was there. I've been coming there. So why is that? Why do you think they have, what kind of feeling they have? Why do they do this?
You see, they think that the white man is very superior, and they feel that being, fair or fair complexion, they feel that they are next after the white man. So they think that they know better. So what you can do? They just don't like Indian food. They just don't like. So I mean, for a fact, how many Chinese go to visit India? It's a very smaller percentage, Of course, everybody has got their feelings. We cannot disturb their feelings. But anyone who is sincere and reads our books, I see there's a good chance of them changing. A very good chance. We're not writing them off. But the point is to get them to read the books, to learn the culture. Because predominantly most of the Indians, they themselves are not aware about their own religion. You ask them about God, many of them don't know. They say there's so many gods. Many of them are not familiar with our philosophy. It's a sad story, So if the Indians are educated and they understand this thoroughly, then there's a good chance of explaining this to them. Okay? Another thing the Indians do in here, they poke their body on Thaipusam Day, they put spikes all over the body. And they promote that as one of the main thing in the Hindu religion, which is not a fact. Poking our body with spears and all that, it's frightening to look at. And it drives people away, And if they say, if I have to be a Hindu and I have to do all this, that's going to be very shocking experience, So all these are done over a long period of time. So to re-educate, to get them going, of course, I wouldn't say we cannot do, but it will take a considerable amount of time.
Absolutely. Prabhuji, if I have to ask you, and you have mentioned this many times, during our earlier conversations as well, you always have emphasized that people should know the scriptures very thoroughly. And you also say that, people don't know what is God, what is the concept of God. If I have to ask you very specifically, if I ask you this question, that what is, God, what is the concept of God in our scriptures? Can you please explain in simple words, for the audiences which are watching it globally and who are going to watch, this podcast?
Very, very, this is the first thing, it's a basic fundamental knowledge, because we all say we should love God. So when you ask someone who is God, they just go blank, and how you progress towards God when you don't even know who He is. It's a very shocking point. You have to know Him, then you have to develop love for Him, then finally you will go back to Him. So who is that person? So in the Gita, Krishna very, 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 strongly says that I am that God. Krishna says, he says, Aham sarvasha prabhu, mata sarvam pravartate, iti buddha bhajante mam, buddha bhava samanvita. I am the source of both the material and spiritual world. Nobody, no other person like Shiva or Brahma, God, nobody said that. Only Krishna says. And then again in the chapter 7, he says, there's no truth higher than me. There's no truth. I am the topmost. There's nothing. There's nobody equal to me, and there's nobody above me. Again. And then, okay, Krishna is saying that, all right. Then in Brahma, Lord Brahma is saying, Iswara Paramaha Krishna, Sachit Ananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Lord Brahma, with 4 heads, he says that Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of God. You are Sachit, Ananda, and Vigraha. Vigraha means form. There's a group of people who say God ultimately has no form. No. Brahma says he's full of form. And he has got no father and mother, no beginning, no end. He is the source of everything. And he is the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna. And Lord Brahma is not saying this out of the blues. He said, I studied the Vedas 3 times thoroughly, and I've come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Now, okay, we take Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva says, among all kind of worship, Aradhanam Sarvesham, Vishnu Aradhanam Param. He's talking to Devi. All kind of worship, the topmost worship is worship of Vishnu, or Vishnu and Krishna are the same. So you see, evidence are there, just that someone has to put it to the public to explain this. Of course, your choice is to do whether you accept or not accept. That's your independent choice. But you should hear what everyone has, just like this podcast. Have so many people are speaking in so many subjects, but it's your choice to accept the authority of leading personalities like Shiva, Brahma, and all the demigods. They are also saying Krishna is the God. Even Ganesh is saying Krishna is the supreme God. So we have to come to this kind of understanding. Then our faith will increase. Then we can make progress, because we know who is God. Then we will begin to love. That's why Krishna says, then if you offer me patram, pushpam, palam, toyam, some leaf, flower, water, I accept. So that brings about the service towards God. So when you do that little service to God, then the Lord recognizes that service and takes you back to the spiritual world. That's why Krishna says, Janma karma cha me devyam evam yo veti tatvataha tattva deham punar janma naite mam eti sojuna. He says, if you know just my appearance and activities, my transcendental appearance and activity, my birth and activities, then you don't come back again to this material world. Finish your cycle of taking birth and dying and taking birth and dying. I'm not sure. The 8.4 million species, you can end up in any one of them, So why take the risk? So if you take to Krishna, then Krishna assures you all the way. I will take you back to the spiritual world when you don't come back again. And also then Arjuna himself is proclaiming, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paraman. You are the Supreme Personality of God. So again, so all these are evidences to prove that God is Krishna. So when we accept this, then yes, our life becomes successful. But if we are doubtful, And for the doubting soul, there's no happiness this world nor next. Why? Why we should live like that? Full of doubt and don't know, confused stage. Hmm? This is not what Krishna wants us. That's why he's given us the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, 5 things I explained. 1, who are you? Who is God? What is this karma, material nature? What is time? Correct? And one more. What is the material nature and what is karma? And what is the soul? What is God? And time? These 5 things are clearly explained in that subject matter. So if we study this, then knowledge, you see, everything requires knowledge. Even to better our material life, we are spending so much of money, so much effort to be getting a better position socially. So why not spiritually, which is far more better than social program? Because we are all ultimately going to die. For one who has taken birth, death is certain. And one who has died, birth is also certain. So in this cycle of going up and down and up and down, it's very painful. Death is not a very nice thing, that, oh, you happily died. There's no such thing. The amount of pain when you're going to die, it's so traumatic that a person loses his consciousness. See? So Krishna says, especially at the time of death, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, he says, anyone who remembers whatever at the time of death, he will attain that without fail. Suppose my mind, of course, naturally, if I don't know about God, I'll be thinking of my dear ones. And let's say I'm thinking of my dear wife. The next life, I have to come back as a woman. And many people have this habit of keeping some dogs. Suppose I think of my dog at the time of death, then what is my position? I'll come back as a dog. Come on. This basic knowledge is not even known by the general public. So, therefore, it is very important to focus on God. Because if you think of God, not that you become God, but you go back to his kingdom. And that
How
is a very
beautiful.
simple thing. Yes, just by the mind.
How beautiful.
You can approach
How
God
beautiful.
by your mind. That's why Krishna says,
Wonderful.
Man mana bhava mat bhakta mat yati. You think of me, become my devotee, worship me. Surely you will come to me. So this basic knowledge, very basic, we can just put into practice, our whole life becomes simple. We're not saying you give up your job or your wife or your family. No, you simply bring Krishna into your heart. That's all. Any place, anytime, anywhere. Anyone can do it. Not that you have to go to the forest or go somewhere. No? Very practical. Yes. I'm sure everyone
Yes.
will say yes.
Yes. Prabhuji, you have always emphasized on, quoting verbatim from the scriptures I've seen. You quote, the shlokas, you come up with the right context, you explain it very, very profoundly. But see the dilemma of the youth today, where because for them there are people like you who are giving the source, explaining the mool shloka, giving the genuine perspective of things. But there are so many people out there who are doing this kind of modern interpretations of the scriptures, and this is around the world. How can the youth differentiate between them? How can they get the right direction in life?
See, for the youth, of course, firstly, they have been taught in the schools about practically that material nature is the source of everything. So they already have a very artistic background. But one thing is there, this program is not just based on something in the school or something, no. This soul is going through so many births. And in its process of transmigration, it acquires some piety, some good credits. And if that credit builds up, pious, they take birth in a pious country like India. So when they are in such environment, or in outside India, in some temples or some devotees, if they come in contact, then this spiritual, what we say, seed that is in their heart can sprout. That's why Krishna says in the Gita, Esam ta antakata papam jananam punya karmanam. Those who have done heaps of pious activity and who are free from sinful life and who are free from all doubts, they can take to this devotional process determinedly. So these are the prerequisites now. They have to have some piety. It is not just based on, a one-time thing. Because it's Krishna saying, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, how many births. One understand that I'm all in all. Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Then he is a Mahatma and a great soul. So this program of going to God is not a one-birth effect. It is so many lives, and especially coming in contact with a pure devotee of Krishna. Then if he comes in contact, it doesn't matter any part of the world, like see Prabhupada, all over the world, they became very much, by his association, they all transformed their lives. So it is possible for youth, for old people, anybody, that the what we say, the success is to come in contact with a pure devotee of Krishna. Sadhu Sangha,
Beautiful.
Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Lava Mantra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Even as youth, even as a young boy, anybody, that contact makes a change in a person's life. Just like Narada Muni in his previous life, Narada Muni, he was son of a maidservant, and his mother was serving some sadhus, Chaturmasa, they don't travel, they stay in one place. So the mother took the opportunity to serve them. So while serving them, this boy also helped, and then he asked them with permission to be able to take their remnants. The moment he took their remnants, of course, they say, okay, and he took it, and his heart became like that. So these are all, arrangement of that spiritual, what we say, secrets. That's why Krishna said, these are all spiritual secrets. And if you take up this process, then how it works is very mysterious. But it works. And then you see, Narada said, just by taking the remnants of the food, my heart became like them. So how much he made spiritual progress? So this can happen with anybody. So youth, only way is that if they can somehow or other read the spiritual books of ours or associate with any of our devotees, then definitely their life will be transformed. Because right now they have been bombarded with so many things in the mode of passion and ignorance, and their mind is very much contaminated and disturbed, because mode of passion and ignorance gives a lot of miseries and pain. Initially it is like nectar, in the end it turned out to be poison. Whereas spiritual life is like poison initially, but in the end it's nectar. See, this is also explained in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So you see, all informations are there. If you plug in that, it works instantaneously, and your life becomes successful.
And how do you present this amazing, sublime, ancient wisdom to a generation that is growing up with technology, very short attention spans and constant distractions around them?
You see, technology is not bad. If we want to help them, we have to use that technology and promote this Krishna consciousness. For example, now I'm talking to you. So we have everyone has a mobile phone. So in the phone, we have the Bhagavad Gita. So when we speak, all we do is show the reference, and the person can read that. Like, for example, now I'm talking to you, but generally when I give the class, I have a screen, where I speak, and then the verses come out on the screen. So while I'm preaching, the same time they're learning also. So that is application of technology. So technology is not bad if it is used rightly in the service of the Lord. For example, everyone is addicted to videos and seeing so many pictures and movies. But if you can put in the Mahabharata, if you can put in the Ramayana, you can put in all this Vedic itihasas and Puranas, then we are doing a great service for them. Because mind you, the soul is spiritual and it's very much linked to Lord. And there is food for the soul. And food for the soul is all this thing connected to Krishna, God. And when the soul comes in contact with that, it becomes very much enlivened and it becomes happy. So that connection we can do with modern technology, we can do with our primitive, the books, every way is possible. Therefore, there's a saying, whatever that can be used for Krishna's service, we should not reject. Aeroplane, for example, you can fly with the aeroplane from place to place and do this prachar everywhere. Or you can use now this technology. You are in India, I am here in Singapore, but still we are connecting perfectly. You are hearing me clear, I am hearing you clear. So it is applicable. This knowledge is most important. How it is transmitted, that's his technology. Just like I'm sure you are aware in Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra and Sanjay were sitting miles and miles away from wherever the battle was going on. And by the blessing of Vyasadeva, that whole scene was, manifested in the heart of Sanjay. And he was relating like a TV commentator seeing the thing on the spot. If that technology was available some 5,000 years ago, of course now it's the same thing. Yes, it can be used. So we have to know how to apply them. Of course, you can use the same technology and go in the wrong way. It's your choice. But generally speaking, if you are guided properly, then everything can be applied for Krishna's use.
And now coming to Prabhuji, I really am very impressed and very inspired, by the great work you're doing. You're also building a 108-foot temple and Vedic farm community in Pondicherry. So what is the larger vision
Yes.
behind this project?
In Pondicherry, we had a friend who had given us the land. It's about 30,000 square feet of land. And there we are building our ISKM. You see, we are a little different from the ISKCON temple because ISKCON is not doing what Prabhupada wanted it to do. Prabhupada did not appoint a successor to be next, after him. He appointed officiating acharyas to perform initiation, and whoever they initiate, they are Prabhupada disciples. So when Prabhupada left, the leading members of the society did away with this and simply proclaimed them as the next guru in line against Prabhupada's order. So we, the ISKM society, we are against that. We want to bring Prabhupada in as he instructed. So as that, what we say, philosophy, under that guidance of that stringent law Prabhupada set up, we, International Society for Krishna Mandir, called ISKM, have what we say separated from ISKCON. So we are primarily doing this job of putting Prabhupada in the center. So our base is in Singapore, and we have also bases in other parts of the world. But in India, we are primarily concentrated in Pondicherry, where we're trying to build this temple to, what we say, be a leading temple for our organization, representing us in India. So where the Indian devotees can associate with us by going to our place. That is our objective there. So of course it is taking a little time, but it's coming up nicely with the support of many devotees. I think we are planning to have an opening ceremony next year. I can invite you to come also. It'd be nice if you can witness it and see how we are presenting Krishna consciousness and in the primary. So that's why the Pondicherry project is very important for us. Because building a temple is a challenge. It's not something so easy. Of course, we have our devotee there, Srila Prabhu. He is taking up the service and single-handedly he is pushing the movement there. So I have to thank him very much for playing that role. It's coming up nice. And he has about, 30 cows there also. And he has, quite a setup. So that we can present this thing, our temple, without having been able to do in Singapore. In Singapore, we are not able to build a very big temple because some or other we're not given that facility. But nonetheless, in India, we can show the full extent of our capability. So either way, we are compensating, not able to do in other parts of the world, because other parts of the world to build a temple is quite a big challenge, but it's more easily done in India. So this is why we are doing that in Pondicherry.
Beautiful. And you have a Vedic farm also, along with the temple. I just wanted to ask you why it is important to combine temples with the such Vedic farm, agriculture, cow production, go seva, go raksha, and such community being built up around it. Instead of most of the temples only are seen as a places of worship.
Correct. What you say is right. Most places they just perform the worship, but what we are presenting is completely different. We are presenting a varnashram system. But this system is there in India. If you go to some villages and all, you will see there's a temple, there's the Brahminical community, there is the Vaishya community, then there is also the Sudra community. Everybody lives in their area and they all come together to worship the Lord center. So this is actually called Varnashramam. Varna means the spiritual order and Varna means the social order and ashram means spiritual order. So they are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. And then they are Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So this 8, in the swastika, you see that? That is the sign of Varna and Ashram. So there are 8 links there, and this represents this 4 social order and 4 spiritual orders. So in order to show how this can work, we have to have a community. And in that community, everyone can see how they all can fit into the role. Not everyone will be a preacher. Not everyone will be a businessman. Not everyone will be a, administrator. So accordingly, there are many, many people with different kind of aptitude, quality, as we say, janma and karma, guna and karma, sorry. So with that guna and karma, everybody can work together with God in the center. So a community project like that will give an idea that how we can all live happily by having to serve God in the center, despite our having our different occupation. So that is actually the whole model of this whole thing. Because if you study the Indian village, it is still having that, but it is becoming pretty much what we say diluted because most people are migrating away and going to the cities and trying to have city kind of a life. But this model has been going on in India for millions of years. But sad to say, in Kali Yuga, this is deteriorating. So we are trying to bring that back. And how to do that? We have to first create the brain. Without the brain, the body doesn't work. When we say the brain, it means there's brain, the Brahmanas, then you have the arms as the Kshatriyas, then you have the belly as the Vaishyas, and you have the legs as Sudras. So the whole body can function properly if everything plays its part. But if the brain is not there, then the body is useless. See? So we need to create that brain. So when we create the brains, then the hands will work perfectly, the stomach will work, and then the legs will all work together and you're fit. But when something is not right, then everything collapses. So that's actually the model of the Varnashram village, So it is very important actually because any part of the world, everybody, there will be an intellectual class, there will be administrative class, there will be a productive class, and there will also be a labor class. So that is not that unique only in India. That's why they kind of very much, look down on India on this caste system. But that's not a fact, The caste system is very valid. Of course, we're talking about the caste system with Krishna in the center. Then it is perfect. But the problem is that the Brahmanas, they are claiming to be Brahmanas, but they are not practicing as Brahmins. So that brings about a downfall. So that is the problem. So we want to rectify that, you see. That's why we are practicing Daivya Varnashram, something associated with the Lord. Whereas the present Varnashram that's going on is Asur Varnashram, very demonic, because it's based on the birthright. And someone is thinking that I'm born then a Brahmin, then I'm a born Brahmin. Brahmin cannot be what we say, it doesn't come from one's quality and qualification. No. So that's why it has become very degraded. People look down on it. Many of them have not put their, everyone has come some surname as Brahmin and all that. Everyone is doing away with it because they don't understand the proper value of this whole system. Because when the head, the Brahminical orders, does not preach the message, then everything becomes very much deteriorated, degraded, and everything falls apart. So that's why the Vedic culture is suffering a very big drawback, because the preaching is becoming completely, I would say, non-existent now. Nobody knows. Nobody even they read the books also, they cannot understand what's in it. They need an acharya to explain. Then it becomes clear.
Absolutely.
That's
Well, I was
all
just going
these
to ask
things.
you this. Yeah, I was just going to ask you this only, Prabhuji, that millions of people today practice meditation, mindfulness, these wellness techniques, yet many still feel very incomplete. So, what do you think is
Yes,
missing?
because they are not connecting themselves to Krishna. You know, I just read to you one verse, a very nice verse on the Bhagavad Gita that sums up this whole thing. It is in chapter 2, text 66. And it says here in this verse, I'll just read the English, easier. Nasti buddhi ayuktasya, nacha ayuktasya bhavana, nacha bhavyataha santi, ashantasya kutaha sukham. If one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there's no possibility of peace, and how there can be any happiness without peace. See, this is the problem. They are not linking with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when you don't connect with Krishna, then whatever you do is simply shramameva kevalam, a waste of time. See, happiness is not yours or mine. Happiness belongs to God, because He is the owner of all happiness. So if I want to get that happiness, I cannot steal from Him. I may try, but that only be temporary. But if I connect with Him, then I get all happiness from Him. That's why we say God is Satchit Ananda. So where is Ananda coming from? From Him. You see? So all these programs that everyone is trying, separate from Krishna, yes, it will give temporary relief, but it cannot give you permanent happiness. That's why you feel something lacking, something missing. See? Why? Because you're not connecting to the original person. But when you connect to Him, that's another verse. Bhoktaram yakya tapasham sarvaloke maheshwaram suhidam sarvabhutanam. It says that Santi Prachite, they get supreme happiness. Santa. So if we want to become happy, we must accept Krishna as the Bhokta, Krishna as the enjoyer. We must accept that He is the Lord of the three worlds, and He has the best feeling, best friend of ours, and in that way we will get supreme happiness. So, but you don't accept, then how are you going to get happiness? It's not going to be possible. Therefore, everyone is feeling something amiss. Naturally, if you're not connected, as I just read the verse, if you're not connected to Krishna, you cannot become happy. It's a science, It's not something, I would say, sectarian, very cultish. We are just Krishna and Krishna and Krishna. No. Krishna is the owner of everything. You cannot deny that. You understand? As he says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, I am the source of all material spiritual good. And you cannot change that. It's not possible. But if you accept the authority of God and work with Him, then yes, why you cannot be happy? You will actually become very happy. See? That's the missing link.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the connection is missing, and it's very important to connect to Krishna.
Yes.
That's a very,
Very
very
important.
golden, wise advice to everyone. This is the mood mantra. Many young people, Prabhuji, globally are searching for identity and purpose. And this I'm asking you because I think Prachyam is the first Sanatani OTT platform in the world. And through technology, as we were talking about just now, as you just elaborated, through technology, we are making the best use of technology to spread the wisdom of Sanatan Dharma, of the great Rishi traditions, about our philosophies, about our great glorious history and itihasa. This is what we are doing, through technology. So coming back to the question that I meet so many people around the world who are truly very good seekers. They're searching for identity and purpose. How can Sanatan Dharma help them answer these deeper questions of life?
Actually, to tell you honestly, without the help of a bona fide guru who's coming down in the unbroken chain of parampara system that's coming from God Himself, it's very difficult for you to make any spiritual advancement. Without the help of a guru, then our mind will be our guru. So, with the help of our mind, it's very difficult to come to the absolute platform because our mind has got four defects. It's not perfect, it's subject to mistake, it's subject to illusion, and it has got a cheating propensity. With these four defects, we are trying to use our mind to push over to the higher realm. It's practically impossible. So, therefore, because of many years of conditioned life, we are now in a very precarious position. We need the help of a realized soul to untie the knots of our entanglement. So, without the help of a guru, so many people are there. They can be very good orators, they can be very good, uh, I mean, any field, philanthropies or, you know, uh, scientists, whatever. But because they are not connecting to God Krishna, and therefore Krishna does not give this understanding. He said in the Bhagavad Gita also, Naham Prakasha Sarvasha Yoga Maya Samanvita. For those people who are not surrendered to me, I cover them with my Yoga Maya, in which they cannot understand me. Naham Nabijanante. They cannot come to me. So therefore, again, he said in the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he said, Arjuna, because you are my devotee and my friend, therefore you can understand this secret. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti tat rahasyam cha uttamam. So because you are my friend and devotee, you therefore can understand the secrets that I am about to reveal to you. So you see, the condition is that unless you are devotee of Krishna or you are a friend of Krishna, then this rahasyam, as we say in Sanskrit, secret, cannot be what we say extracted. You cannot do it. So this is the important point. It is all in the Gita. All you need to do is to learn it. That's all from a proper source, a guru. Then yes, then your scientific thing becomes very much treasured. Your devotion will grow. Everything can happen if you just connect with God. As my spiritual master you say, a lot of zeros, zero and zero, it's no value. But if you put a one in front of it, then immediately becomes a tremendous value. And that one is God Krishna. Then if you include that in your
Absolutely.
life, you become very successful in anything you're doing. No doubt about that.
Absolutely.
It's a
Very
perfect.
true. But the next question which naturally comes, and that would come in their minds, if the youth who's listening to this podcast, that where to find a guru, how to find a guru.
Yes. Of course, if you come to us, we will tell you the real guru, Prabhupada, is coming from the unbroken chain of spiritual masters. And you can see he has written so many books. If you can read them, that will be a good start to get that faith, you know. I mean, it's very clear. He's from, we are from Gaudiya Madhava Sampradaya. Brahma, Gaudiya, Madhava Sampradaya. We come from Lord Brahma down. There are only 4 Sampradayas. One is from Brahma, one is from Shiva, one is from the 4 Kumaras, and one is from the Lakshmi. So these 4 Sampradayas, if you connect to any one of them, then definitely you will be able to get to revive your Krishna consciousness, your link with God. Without Sampradaya, He Sampradaya Vina, Te Mantra Nispala. If you don't connect to the Sampradaya, your mantra will have no value. So why not take this step? How to find one? Of course, in this broadcast, if you're really interested, you can always contact us. You know, we'll be very glad to furnish you all our books and all our details of how to find that important guru for your spiritual life. This is
How
there.
wonderful.
It's not missing. It is there. I'm, for example, myself, I come not from India. I'm outside India. You know, I'm also saying, let's share with you this important knowledge. And definitely you will also be able to, you know, take it up and explain this to so many other people and make their life also successful. And that's what actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted. Krishna came 500 years ago asking all Indians to take up this service. So it is available. It's only a question of sincerity and surrender.
Wonderful. Prabhuji, now the last question I would like to put is, looking ahead, moving forward, what is your vision for the next 25 years of Sanatan Dharm's global journey, and how do you see its role evolving in the world?
I would put it in another way, you know. See, this Kali Yuga is lasting 432,000 years, of which we have just finished 5,000 years. After Krishna left, Kali came full on. So, in other words, we have another 427,000 years more to go before the next Satya Yuga comes. So, in this Kali Yuga, for the next almost 9,500 years, about 10,000 years, is called the golden part of Kali Yuga. So, in this golden part of Kali Yuga, this chanting of Krishna, practicing Krishna consciousness will become very much, profoundly available for everybody. So, this next 10,000 years. After that, then everything will become very much, I would say, in the decadence. It will be difficult to pray to God. It's difficult to get knowledge of God. It's difficult to get association. Everything becomes very much, I would say, downhill. So in this 10,000 period of years, if you can somehow or other take up the process of simply chanting, then you are definitely going to become very successful. So that grace period is there for you, for me, for everyone. After the 10,000 period, then it's going to be a mess. That's why even Krishna warned Uddhava, my dear Uddhava, don't stay here, because a lot of sinful souls are going to come and they're going to make this place very miserable. Very miserable, you know. And you do not know what, I'm sure you said you have been in America. I'm sure you understand what is Varna Shankara, you know, people who are so fallen. They will do anything to you, you know. So much dangerous to just walk on the road. I mean, it's so crazy. I think you have the experience.
Absolutely.
So we have to think, you know, of all these factors. Quickly take up the process and make our life successful. Why?
Amazing.
A little endeavor. Krishna says a little endeavor in this saves you from the greatest danger. Why not take it up as soon as possible? Why worry about anything else? Correct? This human life is meant for only that. To take shelter of the Supreme Personality of God, to make our life successful. And it can be done so simply. In Kali Yuga, there's a verse. It says, Kali Yuga is ocean of fault. There's so much of fault. But there's one good thing. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one can make one's life perfect, and go back to the spiritual world. So why not open the mouth and just say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Finish. Everything is finished.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. Prabhuji,
Yes. Time is
yeah,
up.
I
think.
know. Yeah, I amazing, very inspirational, very enlightening discussion we had. I know it's getting late for you in Singapore, so I won't hold you back for a long time. But there are a lot of people, and there's a lot of questions. But I would like to at least put some questions across to you, not all of them, just very few.
Yes.
And if you may allow, we'll take a short break, and then we are going to come back for a short question and answer session.
Yes.
Thank you.
I
We'll be
guess
back.
I'll be sitting here.
Yes, please. Prachyam is about dedicating to revive our rich cultural heritage, the essence of Bharat. We are bringing to life the echoes of our glorious past.
We need organizations like Prachyam.
It is old as well as the new rise.
प्राच्यम हिंदू के गौरव की गाथा गाता है।
60 साल में हमने जो खोया विरासत के रूप में, संस्कृति के रूप में, उसको वापस लाने का काम कर रहे हैं।
Our mission goes beyond creating content. We are sparking a cultural renaissance.
प्राच्यम एक उत्तिष्ठत का नाद है।
हिंदू समाज को जोड़ने के लिए और सच्चाई दिखाने का काम प्राच्यम द्वारा हो रहा है।
कई दशकों की एक आवश्यकता को प्राच्यम पूरा कर रहा है।
प्राच्यम is putting out as an urgent civilization imperative.
गुलामी की मानसिकता अगर कहीं पर भी अंदर धसी हुई हो ना, उसको उखाड़ फेंकने का काम प्राच्यम का कंटेंट करता है।
Launching the world's first Hindu OTT platform is just the beginning. We have much more to achieve.
पूरा जन जन सत्य से, तथ्य से और यथार्थ से परिचित होगा।
आपका ये प्रयत्न ईश्वर की आराधना ही है।
काउंटर नैरेटिव का आंदोलन आरंभ हो चुका है।
Prachyam is doing an excellent job to give you knowledge which you don't get in school.
I absolutely love it.
I'm very happy to be a part of the Prachyam family.
I extend my best wishes to you and your entire team.
एक बहुत बड़ी सनातन की सेवा हो रही है, उसके लिए मैं हृदय से प्राच्यम का अभिनंदन करता हूँ।
Your support can turn this vision into reality.
Prachyam
is doing a very, very good job.
We Sanatanis need Prachyam.
People are going back to their roots.
It's important for our country.
Arm yourself with the knowledge.
It's almost like a movement.
This is a visionary endeavor.
प्राच्यम को सफलता के लिए साधुवाद।
Amazing job. Strongly recommend do your contribution.
Support them, subscribe them.
By donating to Prachyam, you are just not giving. You are investing in our culture, our future, and our children.
Reaching out to the people with the results of the research, I wish them all the very best.
Join us on this journey. Donate today and become part of a timeless legacy. Yes, we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Prabhuji, there are some questions. I'm going to put it on your screen.
So then why have we Hindus forgotten our Kshatriya qualities? Don't we easily give up under pressure? I would say that the main thing what has happened is that in Kali Yuga, everyone is born as a Sutra. Kalo Sutra Sambhava. So this qualification of Brahmin, Kshatriya and all, no more there practically. So we have to revive this by associating with a powerful Acharya. So when you associate with someone very powerful, then you again can revive this quality. So of course you need to have a proper guru to facilitate that. Without that, it's difficult to go forward. because by birth we are all Asudras anyway. It's the age, Kali Yuga. So it is not that it's not possible to acquire them. It's a question of how to do it properly. Yes, sir.
There's another one.
So can chanting reduce your stress? Actually, when you start chanting Hare Krishna, all stress go away. Because it's a spiritual thing. Chanting is non-different from associating with the Lord. So when you have God inside, God is compared to the sun, and all this stress and anxiety are compared to darkness. So whenever there's God light, where is the question of having all this darkness? It's not possible. When you have sun, Krishna Surya Sama, when you have Krishna sun, then Maya and Nankara is all gone. So I think you should give it a try. By chanting, you'll see how it works. Because the test of the pudding is to taste it, So you try to see for yourself by chanting how much you get relief from your so much stress and anxiety.
Yeah, this is the next question.
If someone doesn't believe in God, can they still benefit from Bhagavad Gita? Yes, the real reason of reading Bhagavad Gita is to believe in God. For one who doesn't believe in God because he has no proper faith, so you have to hear. So by hearing, you will develop faith. The faith is very important, So why you're not believing? Because you have been wrongly influenced. So when you hear from authority like God himself, then that's another whole thing all about it. So faith can increase by hearing from proper source. That's why our whole books are called Shruti. Shruti means to be hearing. See? So if you do this thing of reading the Gita, I'm sure you're on the right course of redeveloping your faith, re-establishing your faith. So please continue reading the Gita. And if you have any queries, I'm sure you can get the place where you can communicate with us, and you can write to us, and we'll be glad to help you more in explaining more seriously this matter. Can Krishna consciousness solve today's problem like loneliness, depression, addiction, and family break? I said yes, a definite yes. Because Krishna consciousness bring you to the transcendental level, Suddha Sattva platform, where all this mode of passion and ignorance very much giving all this problems of today. All this miseries comes from the mode of passion and ignorance. Krishna consciousness transcends you to the mode of pure goodness, where you are not troubled by this. In fact, it says, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, na sochite, na kanchite, samaham sarva bhutanam man bhakti labhati param. The moment you take to Krishna consciousness, you transcend to the Brahma Bhuta platform, and where you become prasantma, always happy. So why not take up the process? Why do some government fear spiritual movement more than political movement? Because spiritual movement can sway a lot of people in. And people who have a lot of faith, they will be willing even to die for their religion. So this is something that everyone is very much concerned. So therefore they fear spiritual movements. I'm sure you can see what's happening all over the world. With religion, you get so many problems. Yes. Prabhuji, which path is the best? As Krishna explains so many karma, gyan, dhyana, bhakti. So he says also in the 18th chapter, verse 55, Bhaktyamam abhijanante yavan yasmin tattvataha. You can only come to me by bhakti. It's difficult to go to Krishna with karma and gyan. So why not take up the bhakti process? That's why also he says, Sarva dharma parityaja mam ekam saranam, abandon all varieties of it, just surrender unto me. That is bhakti, love. So bhakti is the most, what we say, beneficial path for reaching to God, Krishna. In Krishna consciousness, the need of the 21st January, Krishna consciousness need on not only the 21st century, it is actually the need of every soul, because every soul is part and parcel of God. So it is our duty to connect back to God. Then yes, we are in our rightful, what we say, position. Mame angso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are eternally part and parcel of God. So we need to bring back that connection, because as a soul, we are trying to become happy with material things, which will not work. Like a fish, if the fish in the water is taken out and put on land and given all kind of material facilities, you will not be happy. If the same fish is brought back to water, then immediately it becomes very overjoyed, very happy, original position. So similarly, we are all like fish out of water. So we need to go back to our spiritual root,
Amazing, Prabhuji. Questions. There are so many questions, but I know it's very late there, and we will keep it for some other time. Thank you so much. It's such an honor, Prabhuji, to have you on our show Unfiltered with Prachyam tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you for your words of wisdom, your amazing perspective with such clarity of thought and perception, and quoting verbatim, from Gita, from Bhagavatam, from our scriptures. I'm sure our viewers will get a lot of insight and a lot of inspiration tonight after hearing your conversation. So once again, Hare Krishna, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me and giving me a chance in your very esteemed broadcast station. I'm very much humbled by your presentation of Sanatan Dharma all over the world, and if we can be part of it, I'm more than glad to be of some small service. Thank you again. Hare Krishna. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
प्राच्यम का जो प्रयास है बहुत गौरव जगाने वाला है।
60 साल में हमने जो खोया उसको वापस लाने का काम कर रहे हैं।
Prachyam is doing an amazing job.
प्राच्यम का जो पुरुषार्थ है घर घर पहुंचे।
ऐसे अप्रतिम पुरुषार्थ के लिए मेरी अनंत शुभकामनाएं हैं।
Prachyam is doing an excellent job to give you knowledge which you don't get in school.